Thank you. Honorable Deputy Chair of the National Council of Provinces, His Excellency the President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa, Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Honorable Members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow South Africans. It is indeed an honor to take part in this debate of the State of the Nation address tabled by the Honorable President. One already feels recharged, re-energized to lend a helping hand, assisting in putting some of the building blocks in the Constitution and building of a democratic, united, non-sexist, non-racial, and prosperous South African nation. A road that surely is not a sprint, but a long haul. One was excited when we have the State of the Nation address to see even my friend, the Honorable CIC Chief, clapping all the time that night. This
Deputy Chair of the XOP.
Honorable Deputy Minister, can you take a seat? Is that a point of order, member?
Yes, thank you. I was not sure whether he's standing up or seated.
No, member, that's not a point of order.
Right.
The Honorable Deputy Minister is on his feet addressing the House.
I am nearer the ground, Honorable Katis. This year is an important year. One feels very re-energized on this historic important year, celebrating two remarkable individuals who immensely contributed to the freedom we enjoy today. I speak here of the Honorable President Nelson Mandela, the founding president of democratic South Africa, whose 100th year anniversary we are celebrating this year. In whatever we do, we are guided by his farsightedness, his noble demeanor and desire to create a peaceful South African nation, a combatant in real life and a patriot to the end. I here also refer, Honorable Speaker, to the mother of the nation, Umamununtsigelelo Albertina Sisulu, a leader of our people, a humble, hard-working servant of our people. In her honor, I want to quote from the Bible. And I want to refer you, even if you can read it at home, Mcebisi 31, verse 10. The title there is Umfazi Onesidima. Umfazi onesidima ngubani na ongamfumanayo. Lingaphezulu na kwikorale ixabiso lakhe. Unjengenqanawa zabahwebi ukuya kuthabatha kude ukudla kwakhe. Isandla sakhe usitwabululela olusizana. Bubuxoki ubuhle, ngamampunge ubunzwakazi. Ngumfazi owoyika uYehova yedwa oyakudunyiswa. Mnikeni kweziqhamo zezandla zakhe, zimdumise emasangweni izenzo zakhe, azolulele izandla zakhe kumahlwempu, quote unquote. As I honor her, I honor and salute the women of our country, all of them, and agree that freedom is incomplete without the emancipation of women. Among these women, you will find in our benches here today, Cde Mcebisi, the first MK prisoner, woman prisoner, to be arrested. Baleka Mbete, Noma India Mfeketo, who grew up, her 2-month-old child on Section 29 in detention. Nomvula Mukonyane, Lindiwe Zulu, Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngagula, Lindiwe Sisulu, Zokota, Elsley Coleman, Dipuo Litsatsi Duba, Thembi Majola, Ayanda Dlodlo, and many others. I mentioned these women, Honorable Speaker.
Order, honorable members.
Today, it is easy to dismiss them as peacetime revolutionaries. These are gallant women who fought for freedom. Before I forget, as a Gugulethu boy, Mr. President, I also want to indicate that it is the 60th anniversary of the Gugulethu Township this year. A township whose people were victims of the 1913 Land Act and the Group Areas Act. I salute them for their bravery and resilience during those difficult times, and I wish them well in their celebrations this year. I so wish, Honorable Speaker, that the Honorable Likota was still around here. The land question, as well as agrarian reform, remains one of the most emotive issues in our country. It is one of those issues, if not carefully handled, can break our resolve towards building a new democratic society. The colonial conquest was one of the most painful and brutal periods meted against the indigenous people by apartheid and colonialism. There's a lot of literature that records this pain. Needless to say, there is also a lot of disposition which took place that is not recorded. Without opening old wounds, it's important to forgive but never to forget the thorny road traveled. For example, the Glen Grey Act of 1894 sought to limit the number of African people who could own land, including the size of such land and the amount of livestock in it. Another telling example is the one I want to share with this House by Paul Kruger in his memoirs when describing a battle against King Moshoeshoe. He says, and I quote him, "From there, the commando marched further towards the direction of Moshoeshoe's town. We came upon a strong Kafir force of about 20,000 men. We held a council of war in which it was decided that the beggars of the Transvaal should receive farms in the territory which was now about to be freed from the enemy and hold them under the laws of the Orange Free State. An attack, I repeat, an attack was made on the Malap Mountains and met with perfect success. The enemy was driven off, African people. A large number of his men killed and wounded, and a quantity of cattle captured. We counted no less than 8,000 head of cattle, 30,000 sheep, and a few hundred horses," unquote. If you take just this example, you will agree that the battles of dispossession were indeed vicious. All this was consolidated with the 1913 Land Act, where 87% of the land was given to the minority of our population. First Secretary General of the ANC, Sol Plaatje, in his seminal work, captures this proper when he says, commenting on the 1913 Land Act, I quote him, "Awakening on Friday, June 20, 1913, the South African native found himself not actually a slave, but a pariah in the country of his birth," close quote. If we then fast forward and get to 1955, partly the cries of our people regarding landlessness found expression in the Freedom Charter, which stated, "The land shall be shared among those who work it. Restrictions of land ownership on a real share basis shall be ended. All land shall be redivided amongst those who work it to banish famine and land hunger." The Freedom Charter places a huge responsibility on the governing party. This historic document has been the founding document informing strategic direction and policies of the ANC. On the 13th January this year, during the 106 celebrations, our president recommitted the ANC to the vision and the values of the Freedom Charter when he said, "The ANC was formed to heal the wounds that had been inflicted upon our people by colonial conquest." Having stated the above, the ANC-led government, as the ANC-led government was still saying, the resolution of the land question requires that all stakeholders approach it with some level of maturity and sensitivity. The democratic government after 1994 decided to follow a process of redress in the road to a creation of an equal society. In doing so, we committed to work with other compatriots to undo the damage caused by apartheid and colonialism. A lot has been done in word and deed in improving the lives of our people. This work includes measures to curb the ownership of our land by foreign nationals, the establishment of the Office of the Valuer General, saving our government not less than 174 million, the introduction of the so-called 50-50 program, strengthening of the relative rights of people working the land, the one household, 1 hectare program. Work on the establishment of Agri-Park has begun in earnest. The restitution program with all its teething problems. I also want to refer to the issue of the Ingonyama Trust. I just want to say that with all humility, there is no decision by our government to take away land away from the Ingonyama Trust. What has really happened, there has been, Parliament created a high-level panel team that went throughout the country, listening to the comments of our people. There has been no decision. I really want to raise this to my elder with all due respect. And probably we should treat with caution the issue of the land question across the board. And there is no decision that will be imposed by this government. Anything will be discussed, both in Parliament and by all of us fellow South Africans. We do acknowledge that after 23 years in power, there's a lot that still needs to be done. We are still...
Honorable Deputy Minister, can you just take his...
Deputy Chair, I wanted to know whether the honourable member can take a question from me.
Honorable Deputy Minister, are you prepared to take a question?
Yes, Baba.
Honourable colleague, I wanted to know whether that panel is more authoritative as an arm of government than this Parliament, because this Parliament amended the Act and said it was okay. The Judge Jerome Ngwenya, for instance, was not put there by the KwaZulu government, but by this Parliament. Now, which is more authoritative, that panel? And moreover, it is the ANC at your conferences that were paying for this amendment before the panel.
Honorable Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much, Baba. The panel has been formed by Parliament through the Office of the Speaker. And that panel and its recommendations will be a matter of discussion among all South Africans. I just want to stress that when we discuss our issues, there should be no gray areas of issues that cannot be touched and discussed. I further want to say, we are still grappling with the legacy of colonialism and apartheid. The most pressing challenges still remain poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Large tracts of land are still in the hands of a few people. We undertook a land audit that indicated that land is mostly skewed, even at this day in history, towards the minority of our people. We went to a discussion, to a conference as the ruling party, and we had a discussion, and a resolution, a firm resolution was taken. And that resolution refers specifically to the expropriation of land without compensation. This is a decision we have taken, and in March this year, we are convening a workshop, and in that particular workshop, we will not be watering down the resolution. We will be discussing about the modalities of implementing this particular resolution. And so, And so, Honorable Deputy Chair, I want to indicate that we are a responsible government. We know how our people suffered and are still suffering because of the land question. We believe in the principle of the rule of law. All this will be coordinated, not with anarchy, but we are not going to water down. The issue is there should be redress in our country. We should create an equal society. We are quite a forgiving nation. In fact, on the election of the president, I listened to the Freedom Front Plus. And this language of a civil war does not sit well with me. We should not have used that language. This is our country. You know, when we say we want to live together with fellow compatriots, it is not because we have forgotten about the SAS Mendi, bravery of our people who died. It is not because we have forgotten about James Masimini and his colleagues who went through the Wangi campaign fighting for freedom. It is not because we have forgotten how Ashley Krill was killed. It is not because we have forgotten about the brutality of the apartheid machinery that rolled its tracks across the borders into Limpopo, into Mozambique and Lesotho, killing our people. But we are guided by a spirit of building a South African nation. Because in the first place, when we took arms, we said, Honorable President, we are taking up arms because we love peace. We took up arms to bring peace to our country. And we said that when an opportunity does arise for us to resolve the South African problems peacefully, we will grab that opportunity with both hands. This is why we did not opt for Nuremberg trials at the time of the dawning of democracy in this country. We opted for a negotiated settlement in this country, not because we had forgotten what had happened to us, but we know we are not cowards. We know that we are creating a future for our country and generations to come. As I conclude, we are guided by the spirit of the icon Nelson Mandela, who said,
Chair,
Yes, Honorable Malema, Honorable Deputy Minister.
are you taking notes, President? We're choosing ministers now.
No. Honorable Member.
Note.
Honorable Member.
Potential.
Honorable Malema, that's not a point of order. Deputy Minister, can you continue the debate?
I must say that's below the
Honorable
belt.
Deputy Minister. Honorable Pando.
I think,
Honorable Deputy Minister. can you take
Deputy
it?
Chair, we would wonder whether the Honorable Gadi agrees with the Commander-in-Chief.
No. Honorable
Agreed,
Gadi.
and Deputy Chairperson. Very much agreed to.
Honorable Deputy Minister, can you continue?
We are guided by the noble spirit of Madiba, who said, I quote him, as I walked out of the door towards the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness behind and hatred, I would still be in prison in a larger South Africa. And so, honorable members, as South Africans, black and white, we must forge ahead, united in our diversity to find an everlasting solution for our dear country. We are proud that as we undertake this journey, we are led by you, Honorable President, who friends and foe alike acknowledge and agree on the critical role you played in bringing about this constitution. Lastly, all of our work should be guided ultimately by those noble words of Nelson Mandela in his inauguration on the 10th May, when he said, never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another and suffer the indignity of being the skunk of the world, close quotes. Thank you.